Hey everyone, Senza here, and welcome to another Shadowlands beta video. So in this video I'm going to be going over the Mistweaver and Brewmaster legendaries that they've added in the recent beta patch. So all of them are in for both specs now, and now we're still missing one for general, so I'll go over those later, but in this video we're going to go over the healing and tank. So for the first one, we have activating Thunder Focus Tea will cause you to excel a Breath of Yulon, healing up to 6 allies within 15 yards. So it's basically, it makes Thunder Focus Tea also put on an AoE heal. So if you need an extra AoE heal, then there. So as you can see, the mist comes out and then heals. And you can put that on ring and shoulders. So the next one can be put on necklace and wrist, and its healing with enveloping mist or vivify while channeling soothing mist increase their healing done by 6%, and it reduces the mana cost by 10%, stacking up to 3 times, and it just cancels. It ends. The effect ends when your soothing mist channel cancels. So this is pretty good for. I think this is just in general would be my go-to for just normal healing, because in the past, Monk has had trouble with keeping mana, so this increases your healing but also reduces the mana cost. So I'll just go ahead and let me go ahead and do it on this guy. So Soothing Mist, I'm Enveloping Mist, and if you look, there's the buff. So, and then of course it goes away as soon as the Soothing Mist ends, but that's still some pretty good mana preservation, as you can see there. It's pretty good. So I really like that one. It lets you get a lot of bonuses and reduce mana costs. The next one doesn't actually work, but I'll go ahead and explain it. Its Renewing Mist applies Extend Life to the initial target, which instantly heals them and increases all healing done by 15% for 12 seconds. And then when you heal with Enveloping Mist or Vivify, it'll also cause 50% of that heal to be applied to your to the targets with Extend Life. So it's almost like beacons for paladins, and you could have 2 Renewing Mists. So in a raid scenario, for instance, you could put Renewing Mist on both tanks. That would give them Extend Life, which increases the healing you do to them, and whenever you use Enveloping Mist or Vivify on either of them or anybody else in the raid, it would also heal them at 50% effectiveness. So I think this is a pretty decent one for, again, if you need to focus on tanks or just to get a little bit of extra AoE healing or healing done to priority targets. And then the final one is Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, and Rising Sun Kick will heal for 50% of the damage done to an injured ally within 20 yards. So that basically just pretty much required if you want to do the fist weaving. So I'll go ahead and show, because I can't heal myself. I'm already at max healing. I have overhealing on here. So you'll see. Yeah, so you see Ancient Teachings of the Monastery is what it's called. So as long as I do either Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, or Blackout Kick. And again, they have that monastery thing, Teaching of the Monastery. So if you do 3 Tiger Palms, then you use a Blackout Kick, it'll hit additional 3 times and restore mana. The mana restoration is from Spirit of the Crane, but it'll automatically hit 3 times even without that. So that's a little bit of extra healing. It lets you do that. Of course, that by itself isn't going to, as you can see, that's not much healing. But when you combine that with, the Rising Mist, Talent, and then Spirit of the Crane, and then Invoke Chi-Ji, then you can really go all in on the fist weaving to where you're mostly damaging, and you're pretty much just keeping up your Enveloping Mist and hots and stuff. So yeah, pretty good selection of healing legendaries for Mistweaver. And it pretty much comes down to, do you want an extra AoE heal to go with, one of your spells? Do you want to do fist weaving? Do you want reduced mana, to be able to control your mana better with a little bit of extra healing? And do you want to be able to affect more targets with your heals? So each one of those I think is good in a different situation. So now let's go ahead and go to the tank spec. Okay, so now for the tank. Now the tank effects are pretty good in theory, but currently there's a lot of them that don't work. But I will go over them and then show a couple of them that do work. So this one has Tiger Palm, gives a 10% chance to deal 300% normal damage and reduce the remaining cooldown of your brews by an additional second. It's pretty decent overall. I don't know how great that would be, even if it was working. But yeah, definitely it does not work. I've tried it for a while and I have not seen the extra damage nor the additional cooldown. The other one is also an interesting one that would have to really wait till it starts working, but it causes your breath of fire to ignite your right leg for flame, in flame for 8 seconds, and then it causes blackout kick and spinning crane kick to deal additional damage as fire damage and refresh the duration of breath of flame. It says breath of flame, though I think it means breath of fire, but either way, you get the buff when you do it, but like I'll go ahead and put it on. So you get the buff, but it doesn't actually do the extra damage, and it does not refresh the duration of breath of fire. So yeah, the effect buff comes up, the effect itself doesn't actually work. Now this one works, it partly works. So this one's a pretty good one actually for defensive. I think this is probably one of the best ones for defensive. And it's Celestial Brew will also increase your armor by 15%. So I'm going to use Celestial Brew, and then yeah, I have Mighty Pour, which increases armor by 15%. Now the second part of that is supposed to be to where Purifying Brew will have a 15% chance to not consume a charge, and I think that's pretty big. But I've used it again for quite a while, and not one time did I not use a charge for Purifying Brew. So this half works, but it's still a pretty good one just for the extra armor, and when it fully works, that'll probably be the go-to I think for defensive. And then probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite, Legion Legendary is back. Keg Smash deals additional damage and then has an additional charge. And this one does fully work. And considering that, it was literally a Legion one. I think it was shoulders too from Legion. So yeah, it should definitely work because it was already in the game. But as you can see, I have 2 charges now, and yeah, it does more damage. So normally those hits on the primary target do about 800 something damage, and so now it does over 1,000. So yeah, having those extra keg smashes is just really strong because it also gives you shuffle. It does pretty decent damage, and they have a conduit that increases somewhere, yeah, keg smashes by an additional 20% for targets that are affected by breath of fire. So that's a pretty strong one. Just in general, if you need more damage or you want more keg smashes, that's the one that I really would like to use and would be really fun to use, and you could probably get some pretty good damage out of a Brewmaster monk by putting that on. But the one that I would realistically use at the beginning of the expansion would most likely be the Celestial Brew one, because making your brews even stronger is huge. Getting the extra armor when you use Celestial Brew instead of just the absorb, and then also having a chance to be able to clear stagger and increase the absorption of your Celestial Brew without even using a charge, that's pretty big. So yeah, pretty cool ones. They definitely need to adjust them so that some of them don't work, and then stuff like that. But it's a pretty good one. That's all for my look at the different legendaries for the tank and healing for Monk. So now we've seen most of them. We just need the extra general one, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. I really like Monk. It's my main class, and these legendaries for tank and healer definitely makes me want to play those specs more. If you liked the video, please give a like and subscribe for future videos. And as always, thanks for watching.